What's up, basketball fans? Welcome to the Warrant Report. I hope you guys are having a good weekend, soaking in some sunshine, and I want to talk about some basketball, and particularly the Raptors and the NBA draft. Now, some news came out recently which may benefit the Raptors, but let's talk about the Detroit Pistons first. So we know they won that first overall pick, and what surprisingly came out the next day, which was surprising to everyone, some really interesting news about the Pistons apparently being open to trading that first overall pick. Now, I'm not going to lie, when I first heard this, I thought maybe they're just testing the waters. The Pistons wouldn't actually trade that first overall pick, would they? Well, more interesting news came out a few days ago where it talked about how the Pistons are looking at Evan Mobley and Jalen Green at that number one spot. Maybe they're not too high on Cade Cunningham, or maybe they're doing this again to test the waters. I want to talk about how this may benefit the Raptors and how the Raptors could potentially trade up to draft Cade Cunningham. Now, before we get into the details of this video, guys, you know the drill. Give this video a thumbs up because it helps reach more basketball fans like yourself when you do that. And if you could hit that subscribe button as well, it really helps this channel grow. You get a lot of Raptors content on here, including analysis, latest draft news. There's going to be free agency videos coming up as well. So to keep up with the latest Raptors news, make sure to hit that subscribe button. With that being said, let's get into today's video. Now, are the Detroit Pistons actually doing this just to test the waters? We know the Houston Rockets, Cleveland Cavaliers, and the Raptors are right behind them in terms of draft order. Are they doing this to kind of entice the teams behind them to trade up? Whether that's for Cade Cunningham or Jalen Green, we know maybe the Rockets are looking at Jalen Green, and maybe, you know what they say, if the Pistons are taking Cade Cunningham, we don't need to move anywhere. So maybe this is a tactical move to move up in the NBA draft for the Houston Rockets, maybe just to kind of, keep other teams below them on their feet and not get too comfortable in their draft positions. But this is the same Detroit team. We have to talk about this, guys. The last time they had a top 2 pick, they drafted Darko Milicic in the NBA draft, and I can't emphasize enough on the players they passed on. But how does this benefit the Raptors? Well, the Raptors, we know, are open to all options. Bobby Webster mentioned this after the NBA draft lottery happened. He said, we can go in any direction. We can trade that pick. We can, do anything. So maybe the Raptors potentially move up in the NBA draft. Maybe they become trading partners with the Detroit Pistons or Houston Rockets if the Detroit Pistons decide, to pass on Cade Cunningham. Now, the Houston Rockets are in a very strange situation because they're in a place where they're in denial after that James Harden trade of they're not being a great team. Let's be honest, they're not a playoff team, but they still have guys like John Wall. They have Eric Gordon. They also have Christian Wood as well, who they signed last offseason. So maybe they'll look to add to that core in hopes of making the playoffs. Maybe the management is very blinded by that and are still trying to push for the playoffs. And maybe the Raptors throw in someone like Fred VanVleet in a trade to move up to that number 2 spot to draft Cade Cunningham. Now, this would be really awkward, obviously, because we saw Fred VanVleet was there in the NBA draft lottery, so it'd be really bizarre if we did include him, but we know the NBA is a business, so maybe someone like Fred VanVleet throwing that 4th overall pick and a future first-round pick and maybe another asset like Chris Boucher or maybe Malachi Flynn you throw in that trade to draft Cade Cunningham. Now, I don't think that trade necessarily gets it done, but we know Masai Ujiri pulls his tricks in the bag when he's making trades. Seems like no matter who he's trading with, he always gets the best out of it for the Raptors. So maybe that happens and we're able to draft Cade Cunningham. Now, potentially, I think it's going to cost more than that. It's probably going to cost one of the pieces in Pascal OG or Fred VanVleet. Now, personally speaking, I'm not willing to move anyone besides Fred VanVleet. I'm not trading OG Anunoby. I'm not trading Pascal Siakam. I know there's been a lot of fans suggesting, trades involving Pascal Siakam to acquire another first-round pick. Personally, I'm not doing that just because he's our leading scorer. I think you need to add to this team, and trading Pascal Siakam kind of sets us back in a rebuilding mode, I personally think. I just don't think that makes a lot of sense for the Raptors. But it will be interesting to see what the Raptors do. We know Cade Cunningham is a generational talent. No matter which team he goes to, he's going to alter their future entirely. He can play 3 different positions, and we know the Raptors system is amazing at developing players. And not that he needs a lot of development. I think he's going to be a great talent at the NBA level. He's going to definitely help the Raptors a lot in different areas. He'll provide some size, some passing, and I think he could be that go-to guy in the clutch maybe in the future. So I think if the Raptors do draft him, they're going to get a solid player. I mean, we've been hearing, funny, fade for Cade the entire season, tank for Cade, everything like that. So it'll be really interesting to see what the Raptors do in the NBA draft. But that is something to definitely keep an eye on. We've seen a lot of news about the Pistons regarding Cade Cunningham being open to trading that first overall pick. So make sure to keep your eye on that. Maybe the Raptors are willing to take a chance and maybe trade up with that number 1 spot. Maybe the Detroit Pistons pass up on Cade Cunningham and draft someone else. And maybe, the Raptors decide to become trading partners with the Rockets on draft day. So all of that news to keep your eye on. Make sure to hit that subscribe button to keep up with the latest Raptors news, guys. And before I end this video off, I do want to hear your thoughts. Do you think the Raptors should keep that 4th overall pick and maybe draft someone like Jalen Suggs and play it safe and not trade up and lose assets? Or do you think we should go for it? We should trade up with that number 1 pick or number 2 pick and draft Cade Cunningham. Do you think it's worth trading up, losing someone like Fred VanVleet, a future first-round pick, other assets as well to draft Cade Cunningham? Let me know all of that fun stuff in the comments section. And if you guys are still watching this video, guys, thank you so much for watching. Have a great day.